Greetings and welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at the 2005 romantic comedy adventure fantasy film Just Like Heaven, directed by Mark Waters and starring Mark Ruffalo and Reese Witherspoon. Let's begin. Elizabeth Masterson, an emergency room physician in San Francisco whose work is everything, is in a car accident while on her way to a blind date at her sister's. 3 months later, landscape architect David Abbott, needing a fresh start after his wife's death, takes a sublet on Elizabeth's apartment. Elizabeth begins to appear in the apartment, and both are confused. She thinks that he is a squatter, and he thinks she broke in. They soon realize that she moves through walls and objects. Elizabeth does not know who she is and insists that she is not dead. David unsuccessfully tries to have her spirit exorcised. David enlists the help of a psychic bookstore clerk, Daryl, who says Elizabeth isn't really dead. He also tells David that he's clearly got a blocked heart and needs to let go of the woman who was previously in his life. When Elizabeth says that he should get over being dumped, he storms out, and Daryl tells Elizabeth to not disrespect the dead. She finds David and explains about his wife. As only David can see and hear her, others think that he is hallucinating and talking to himself. Elizabeth asks him to help her discover who she really is. David talks to her neighbors, but they don't know her. Checking a restaurant she recognizes, a man has a medical emergency, so Elizabeth helps David save his life. Suddenly, she remembers being a doctor, and they go to the nearest hospital, where it all comes flooding back. Dr. Fran, her mentor, takes him to Elizabeth, who is in a coma. When David touches her hand, Elizabeth feels it, meaning that she is still connected to her body. Elizabeth's sister Abby arrives, and Dr. Brett notifies her that Elizabeth signed a DNR order. He asks her to sign off on disconnecting life support, and she says that she'll consider it. David and Elizabeth bond. When he takes her to a beautiful landscaped garden he designed, she tells him that she senses that she has been there before. In fact, she was dreaming of the garden in the opening scenes of the film while catnapping during a long shift. When David's told that he's been offered a long-term lease, he realizes Elizabeth will be taken off life support. He tries to prevent it by going into Abby's to tell her that she is communicating with him. While there, her niece Lily can see Elizabeth. David begs Abby to keep her alive, but she has already signed the papers, with life support ending the next day. As a last-ditch effort, David blurts out Abby's secret from her wedding day, freaking her out, so she drives him out of her house. Elizabeth opts to spend her last night with David in the apartment. The next morning, he is determined to prevent her death by stealing her body from the hospital. He enlists his friend therapist Jack to help. It turns out Jack is Abby's former college boyfriend, and the two had set up David and Elizabeth for the blind date on the night of the accident. David can see her because they were meant to meet. He admits to Jack and Elizabeth that he loves her. Security guards catch them trying to steal Elizabeth's body. As they pull Jack away from her, her breathing tube comes off. Elizabeth is now dying, and David frantically kisses her body while her spirit fades away. Her heartbeat returns and she awakens from the coma. She recognizes Abby, but not David, as he sadly leaves. Sometime later, Elizabeth moves back into her apartment. Drawn to the roof, she finds David, who has transformed it into a landscaped garden. He reveals that he had gotten in using the spare key her spirit had shown him. When Elizabeth asks for her key back, their hands touch. Her memory of the events during her coma are restored, and they kiss happily. The final scene fades away from the rooftop to show Daryl staring into a snow globe, happy with seeing how things have turned out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below letting me know which movie you'd like to see me do next, and what you thought about this. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and goodbye.